As you all may or may not know, my name is Nate, aka Nate Two Times on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube as well. And I'm the founder of For the Winners, and also the new creative platform For the Win Creative. And pretty much what we do is we showcase a lot of young creatives doing their thing, post them on our pages, get a lot of intel from them. Also, we give a lot of resources out to young creatives as well. So any type of resources that you may need to grow your business, we offer on our platform as well. So here we have the GOAT, DruePhoto, who has been blowing up everywhere over Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everywhere, even YouTube. You can find him on YouTube. Credible names as of lately. He's worked with the guy, the Canela Deer guy, Brother Nature. And I've also seen his bio. He's doing things with Sword Gaming, so that's pretty cool for all my gamers out there. So here he is, man.
Absolutely.
So hopefully you all can find some value in this
Thank you, thank you.
interview.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. Super cool what you guys do. And thanks for hyping me up. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. So, you man, let's just get down to business. Every interview we do, we cover the bases. So, number one, how old are you and where are you from?
So I am 26 years old, and I am currently living in the Ontario, California area. Although I am originally from Kansas City, Kansas. I just moved out here earlier this year, so still getting the hang of everything out here in California. But yes.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, okay. So we got how old are you? Where you from? We always like to showcase how old people are because we like to show, you can do this too. You can build your clientele up this far. You can have this certain tier quality if you want. You don't have to wait 20 years to be able to have a certain tier quality or a certain type of clientele. So we always ask people their age. Um,
Absolutely.
Now moving into the next basic. What's your go-to camera and go-to lens?
So my current setup right now is a Canon 6D with my typical go-to lens is a 35 millimeter f1.4. Although I have a good amount of the prime lenses. I have a 24, 35, 50. I have a 24 to 70, and then a 100 macro. But go-to, like if I had to say one lens that you should get, 35 millimeter f1.4, either Sigma or whatever is native to the brand that you use. But yes, that's my go-to. I love it.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay, okay. So we definitely gonna note that everybody. So on our blog post, we're going to link the camera and lens that he just described. So if you want to go and cop that camera and lens, you will know exactly where to get it. So now, the next question. Now, when you started, now number one is we don't just post photos. So a lot of other blogs, a lot of other different platforms, they just like to post photos of photographers and do it that way, which is fine, but it's a lot more in photography than just a great photo. It's a lot of stories behind photos, and we like to showcase those stories and also just learn about the journey of the actual photographer because it's a lot of things that people can learn from other people's journeys and how they started and how they're moving now, which can improve their businesses. So that's really, really what we like to focus on is the story and not really just the photo. so
For
uh
sure.
so moving on now, how long did it take you to land your first paid client and
Oh
how?
man. I'm like the worst at this because I've always I feel like I'm definitely more of the creative when it comes to the photographer than the business side because I feel like you have to be very well versed in both, and I definitely lean hard creative. But it took me. I'm trying to think. Um, because I feel like some people jump right into it. I was always very scared to charge people. I think it took me since like I first bought a camera, um, probably a couple years or so. I would say like once I actually started doing like my portrait work, um, it was like a couple months afterwards. I did some senior photos for a guy, and they turned out all right, I think. But it did take me a couple years before I felt comfortable doing it. But then again, those years are I wasn't really taking photography seriously at that point. It wasn't, I guess it wasn't a thing in my mind like, oh, I could be doing this for money. It was more of just a hobby or something that I was given a shot at. Uh, but yeah, it was through a friend of a friend. Actually my mom hooked it up. My mom hooked me up. Uh, it was a guy that my brother played soccer with. And so I think, my mom always talking about my photography and all that stuff was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you should have Drew take his photos." And so that's how that got set up. Thanks to my mom.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So pretty much through referral was
Drew,
your
yeah,
first paid client
it's very
through referral.
honestly, it's very important. I feel like word of mouth has so much more. It's a better effect than even social media, to be honest.
Wow. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna pick back up on that one too. Definitely want to hit that question. Now, I heard you say that you were afraid to charge people. So a lot of
Yes,
different photographers are afraid to charge people, and they really don't know what to charge people. That's another thing too.
I still
So
struggle with
why
that.
so why were you afraid to charge people? Did you think that that the quality of your photos weren't good enough to charge?
Yeah, that is something that I even today still struggle with, which people get mad at me about. But it is the are my photos good enough to be, to have somebody pay me sort of thing. And I don't know. I've always, I guess, in life been nervous to try things out for the first time. I don't know why, but whenever I end up doing it and it does well, I end up loving it. So it's one of those things where I feel like you just got to rip the band-aid off sort of thing and kind of go for it. Like you'd be surprised what people I mean, most people that don't do creative work or photography and that sort of thing, I mean, they're going to find your work incredible because it's going to be better than what they're doing, right? With like their iPhone or whatever or that sort of thing. So I guess just don't be afraid to charge people. Just go for it. Throw out a number. And the thing is if they say no or whatever, it's like, well, on to the next or anything like that. I guess I kind of, when I think about it, I think of a couple things. I think of, is this something that I actually want to photograph, right? Like, is this a shoot that I am going to one enjoy, like, as like creatively, right? Is it something that is going to fulfill me creatively, or is this something that, like, am I just taking family photos for whoever? And then I kind of base it off of how long it'll take me to do this stuff and how much I actually want to do it, honestly. So, like, if it's something that I'm not super thrilled about, um, and I feel like it's just going to take me a good amount of time, I tend to charge a little bit more just because you never know. Somebody could say yes, and I feel like you should get paid what how you feel you should get paid. But definitely just go
So,
for it.
so take those risks, man. Take those
Just
risks. Take
just go
those
for
risks.
it. It
Yeah,
doesn't hurt.
man. That's so important. That's just another part of being an entrepreneur, man. Because a lot of what I talk about too, I talk to a lot of different photographers, and I kind of get mad when people call themselves freelancers.
Yeah.
So I'm like you're an entrepreneur, man. You're not a freelancer.
Good way
You
to
can
put
call
it.
yourself that, but you're an entrepreneur. And I tell people like you got to build that empire. You're like, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
Establish yourself as
That's
an
what I'm trying to
entrepreneur.
do right now.
hmm
I'm
And
working on that.
that's yeah, man. And that's on to the next little question. I just wanted to know how much are you actually charging people now for a shoot?
Not enough. Right now, I'm still trying to, I guess, build like a local kind of clientele, just so I can have some, money to survive and pay rent. But right now, for like just typical, I guess you could say like headshot kind of shoots, I charge 250 for an hour to 2 hour shoot, and then I charge 50 per image that they want done. So typically, I guess usually it's only like $500, which is not a lot. Like that's actually very, very, very little. Um, but I don't know. I honestly, I am not the best at it, and I need to, um, you know, like I said, build more of a clientele. I think via word of mouth, honestly.
So
But
$500, man, for one shoot, that's still some money.
it is a
That's
good
still
chunk.
some money. You do 20 shoots in a month, man, and you there. You
That's true. That's true.
like literally, and then your price is not gonna do anything but go up because the quality there, the brand equity is there. So it's literally like it's a no brainer that that price is definitely gonna go up.
I
And
appreciate that.
for yeah, man, for all my people out there, he's getting paid $500 per shoot, $500 per shoot. So
Trying
saying
to.
that to say, saying that to say, doing your photography is easy for you to make $100,000 a year. So it's easy for you to be able to reach that type of income doing photography. For those people who don't think that your photography can actually be a full-time job, so like that's another thing too. So just
Absolutely.
a little thing to pick you guys' brains, man. So
If you grind,
now
you
that
can
we
do it, man.
exactly.
I know
So
plenty of wedding photographers that make a lot of money. They also do
so
it all the time.
let's see. Let's get into let's get into a little bit of your latest highlight that people keep reposting because I keep seeing this brother nature shoot everywhere. Not even just with you posting it, but people are just different blogs reposting and different stuff like that. So how did that actually even come about? Did he just reach out to you, or did you submit a proposal, or like how did that come about?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So, I had recently posted a set of it was actually like my first time really using a macro lens. And I took photos of this iPhone. I took photos of my blue iPhone 10R out in somebody's front yard. And I mean, the photos turned out beautiful. They were amazing. And the post did very, very well. um, but Brother Nature ended up following me from that post, and I obviously had a fanboy moment. But I immediately, basically, I DM'd him and I was like, "So when are you and Canella down to shoot?" And he ended up telling me that he was going to be in LA and like the next couple of weeks we should set up. And I was just like, "What's the easiest way for me to contact you?" And he sent me a number and we set something up.
That's
That's how it
crazy.
went down.
So are you guys still in touch today?
Say that again.
Are
Do we
you all
still
still in
text?
touch?
Yeah. So I was very lucky to go out and take some photos with him at this animal sanctuary that we went out to. And I kind of just captured him doing his thing and everything like that. I need to text him about that, honestly, still. But yeah, it was a cool experience. Got to take some photos with animals. I mean, there was like monkey on me and all this stuff. I was taking photos with him. And so super, super cool experience. But yeah, I would like to say, I guess, I still kind of keep in touch with the guy.
That's dope, man. That's dope. That's definitely dope. Definitely dope. Power of social media. So like I
I
said, we're
know,
gonna hit
right?
these social media questions at the end. What about Sword Gaming? So how did that come about? The
Yeah.
Sword Gaming thing.
So Sword Gaming has it has like a special place in my heart because uh, previously, before I did all of this photography stuff, I used to play Call of Duty, and I would post line on YouTube. And I made money playing video games on YouTube a long time ago. And Sword Gaming was a thing back then, and yeah, and I kind of fell out of the gaming world and all that sort of stuff. And I gained their attention from my photography work, and I had known the now leaders of SOAR way back in the day. Um, and so they kind of knew who I was previously, and then they saw what I was doing currently on social media. And they are really looking to take their brand to kind of like the next level and everything like that. And they think that they want to go more of the entertainment lifestyle kind of content and everything like that. And so, they're very interested in having me be a part of the team to, I guess, really do more creative work and that sort of thing. And then also get some really cool photos of, any sort of merch or like I'm getting to go out um, to the Fortnite World Cup in New York to
Oh
photograph
shit.
for it's E11 Gaming, who is basically they're partnered with Soar, and so I'm getting to go do all this cool stuff because of Soar Gaming, which is awesome. So they're creating some awesome experiences for me, and yeah, it's it's kind of funny because Crude, he's the one of the leaders of Soar, and I had messaged him just as like a, hey, do you remember me? Blah blah blah.
Mm.
And I told him, I was like, hey, if you ever need me to take photos for SOAR, anything like that, let me know. Um, it was kind of funny because he ended up living like 10 minutes away from me for a short period of time. Never ended up hanging out with the guy then, but got his number and info. And then, like, I want to say like 6 months later, I got a random message from him being like, you're in SOAR, congratulations, welcome. And so so yeah, it was honestly very random on how I got in, but it's been super cool, and like I said, special place in my heart because of
So
the
you're still a big.
old YouTube days.
So you're still a big gamer now.
Kind of. I wish I had more time for gaming. I don't really play as much as I used to. I'm not a Fortnite person whatsoever. I am not very good. But it is going
I'm
to
a
be
Call
cool
of
to
Duty
go.
guy.
I watch Fortnite. I watch Fortnite here and there. Can't play it. Can't play it. I'm still a Call of Duty person. I could play
Yeah,
Call
I'm
of
a Call
Duty.
of Duty. Yeah.
If you gave me like a week on Call of Duty, I feel like I could hold my ground with some of the people that are doing it very well today. So,
Yeah,
um,
man. That
but yeah,
that that gaming industry is crazy, man. That's really dope, man.
it's
That's really
super
dope.
awesome.
Your photography has a certain like look to it every single time. It has like a
Thank
certain
you. I
like
appreciate that.
it has like a certain. It's very distinctive. Like it's literally like when you look at a photo, it kind of like punches you in the face.
Yes,
Like
thank you.
so
That's the
like
look that I want. Like it
yeah,
really
so
is.
like so like that's really what your photography looks like. Now, with you branding yourself like that with your photography, because you could have easily done some other crazy stuff like vintage looking photography, you know what I'm saying, and kept a consistent look like that with your photography, but you really went for that really like in your face, like punchy feel, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, to your photography. So how did you go about developing that style, or did it really just happen? Like,
Yeah.
how did you go about doing that? And
Um,
did you have other people that inspired you, other photographers that inspired that style, or you know?
yeah, no, that's a great question. I'm trying to think like exactly when. I know because so for a long time when I first started posting on Instagram back in like 2017, I used Visco quite a bit. I just used Visco presets on a good
So
chunk of stuff.
get people who aren't who don't know what Visco is. Can you tell them what Visco is?
Yeah, Visco, it's actually it's turning kind of into an Instagram almost in a way with because I didn't even know there's a whole social media side to Visco, but there is. But it's a photo editing app on your phone. I think it's one of the better options out there as far as photo editing. But I guess they are very well known for very vintage presets. They imitate film and all that sort of thing, so that's what they're best known for. But yeah, if you don't have it, you should definitely download it. It's VSCO. It's free on the App Store. It's awesome. um, but I used that for a good chunk of time until I got into like Lightroom and that sort of thing. Um, I don't really know style wise when that kind of came my way because I ended up because I used Lightroom for a good chunk of time, and then I ended up getting my iPad, which is what I edit on currently, and I got an iPad because I wanted to edit with friends at coffee shops because I have a desktop computer and I can't take that with me to edit everywhere. So I got an iPad and I downloaded this application called Affinity Photo, which is basically Photoshop, is what it is. And I don't know. I think it was experimental stuff. I remember a long time ago, I wanted to try and achieve like this film vintagey look, but with like a pop. And I think that just ended up turning into just me going full on like pop and like, you know, um, bright highlights and crunchy, I don't know. I like the punchy look. I would say that it
Hmm.
was probably a lot of my friends, like a lot of my photo friends. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Obi and his work, but his work's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
his work is great.
yeah, definitely his like colors and style definitely inspired me back when I was trying to find like a look that I wanted. But I would say honestly, I would say it really came kind of just naturally over time of just like this is just it's just what looks nice to me, I guess, now. Like it's just like this
Mhm.
is I don't know. I guess that's I do remember though, like definitely being inspired by Obi's edits and wanting to achieve something similar. Uh, and then I don't know, just kind of turned into what it is now.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So we have a lot of people who like struggle with that, who struggle with, man, like how do I want to brand myself as a photographer? Like
Yeah,
how do exactly do I want my work to consistently look to where it's to where if you look at a photo, you can be like, oh yeah, that's a true
yeah,
photo right there. You see what I'm saying? Or that's the XYZ photo. And pretty much a lot of people try to force it, really
yeah,
try to force that out of themselves. But it seems like to you, you're saying just let it pretty much just come naturally to you on what exactly just consistently keeps looking nice to you over a long period of time. So if you just keep editing and every time you're editing, you just always think a black and white photo looks good.
yeah,
So literally
yep,
just keep going with the flow, just keeping the black and white photo, and eventually you will brand yourself as that type of photographer to where that sticks and that's what really differentiates you. So
yeah.
that's pretty
No,
much what.
it really did just come naturally, to be honest. Like it just from hours and hours of editing and trying different things and that sort of stuff. I just feel like everybody kind of has a style that they're inspired by or that they really look up to, and I feel like you'll find your edits similar or somewhat close because you have not even just like your tones, but you also have colors that can determine a style and everything like that. I think people care too much about styles, honestly, as far as people's
Mm-hmm.
work. I think that is a little bit of Instagram's fault, to be honest with you, just because of consistency. Consistency looks good on Instagram feeds and all that sort of thing. I feel like I'm lucky. I feel like I've been able to keep a similar style, but I feel like I can branch out with my edits and try different things somewhat, especially with like colors and that sort of stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it all comes kind of just naturally from work that you look at and experimenting with your own work and just I guess what looks good to you, right? Whatever you think, whatever you're inspired by, whatever you want your photos to look like, try and achieve that, and eventually you'll find something that fits for you.
Dope, dope, dope. I like, I like that word. I like that word, man. So that's actually a question submitted by one of our community members. So
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
happy that I'm happy that you answered that question there. So now moving on from the branding and the image thing. Me for example, I'm a big brand guy. I'm really infatuated with the entire concept of brand and
Yeah.
really what brand can really what type of doors brand can really bring you. Open up for you. You know what I'm saying? So me, I love that question. I like hearing about different things like that. And me, I'm just like a brand enthusiast. So
I'm still
so
trying to figure mine out.
yeah, so and it takes time, man. It takes time. It takes time to build the equity up and that image up. You know what I'm saying? But we're all young, so
Absolutely.
we all young, man.
Absolutely.
We had time, man. So cool. Now on to the business sort of questions here. So this is the area where a lot of photographers, not even just photographers, but just creatives in general,
Mhm.
struggle at because they just want to create. They don't really want
Yep.
to
Nope.
worry about that.
I'm in
You know what I'm
that boat.
saying? It's just like, yeah, just like let me create and let me just.
Yeah.
But for the winners, we clash entrepreneurs and creators. We bring those two things together because we feel like regular entrepreneurs who aren't creatives, you know what I'm saying? They struggle
Yeah.
with your end of work, and then on the spectrum, you struggle
Yep.
with their end of the work. So if you just clash those two things together, it's literally like a
I need something
perfect
like that.
Yeah, literally it's just like a perfect like harmony, like a perfect flow. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
we like getting into these questions here. So
bring it.
number one is we see you create a lot of content, a lot of
Yeah.
content. So you
Yes.
do a lot of content marketing for yourself. So
Too much, to be
how
honest, but yes.
how how has that affected your business?
So I mean, it's definitely helped with creating, I feel like, a, a brand for myself, or like it's helped gain like a voice for myself in like the in a community, I guess. It's helped out with business a little bit. I feel like I'm still in that spot where it I feel like exciting things are to come, and I feel like big things are to come. It's just I'm just not there yet, so I'm still kind of, I feel like everybody creative kind of goes through the, just I think everybody in general just goes through the I don't know what I'm doing in life in
Yeah.
general with this stuff. Like, am I doing like, is this going to be something that I can, make a thing and that sort of stuff. I still freak out about that stuff because right now a lot of it is just I'm trying to because I've been doing a lot of product photography recently, so I've been trying to build a portfolio out of that stuff because I really don't have too much to show for product stuff, and it's also me kind of just testing my abilities as a photographer too, because I've never tried these things, and these are, I think that's why it's exciting for me right now to be doing product photography because it's all this new stuff that I've never nailed down. Like, I haven't gotten this down with portrait work. I feel like I've gotten the hang of it. It's something that I feel like I can do pretty well confidently. But product photography is something totally, totally different. And so I don't know, man. I still struggle with the business side of things, but it's definitely better than what it was. That's for sure. And I mean, I've gotten attention from some of the people um, that I've done product stuff for. Like, I was able to. I mean, Adidas ended up emailing me, which was super awesome.
That's
I
dope.
know that. I mean, Coke at least acknowledged the tweet. They replied. Chips Ahoy replied and retweeted. They actually followed me too, which was kind of cool because they only follow like 60 some people. So I was like, that's pretty neat.
That's dope.
And then Oreo retweeted and quoted it too. So, I mean, it's cool to get that sort of attention and that sort of thing. It's not really helping pay the rent or anything like that. But I think it is something where I do have more eyes on me at this point because of that sort of stuff. And I think it's just something that's different and it's new. It's exciting for me. That's why I'm doing it for free at this point. Obviously, all-time goal is to be picked up by some sort of big company that would like to contract me out for some sort of product stuff, or even
Hmm.
really anything photography related. But um, I guess to answer your question, it's not helping out as much as people think it is. But
Hmm.
it is, like I said, I feel like it's something that is about to explode in my face. I think once I get the hang of it, once I get the roll of it, working with companies, businesses, I feel like I'm going to be, drowning and stuff and not know what to do with myself.
So quick question. What about your YouTube? What about
Yeah.
that?
YouTube. So YouTube, I'm trying to be a lot better about. Um, I've been trying to. I feel like I overthink a lot of the stuff too much about like what I want to do and videos I want to make. I need to just start making videos and that sort of stuff. Um, but I've been trying to do. I come out with tutorial videos every so often, and I try to do like a behind the scenes of what I'm creating and that sort of stuff for certain
Hmm.
posts and that sort of stuff. I did one for the Oreo shoots. I also have footage of pretty much all my recent shoots. I just haven't put them together yet. But I'm still in that area of like, how do I want to take my YouTube channel? Like, which way? And I feel
Hmm.
like I just need to post stuff and I'll let, you know, YouTube kind of decide where it wants to go. Um, but it's tough. It's tough to do YouTube. Anybody that does YouTube, it's you can ask them. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort, and that's something that I'm trying to, like I said, uh, give more time to. But I think it's going well. I enjoy my support on YouTube, as well as like Twitch and that sort of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's good.
That's dope. That's definitely dope. That's definitely dope. So I really like the way that you the consistency with your content and and the different avenues that you try to take with creating it. You see what I'm saying? So you're going on YouTube, you're trying to build your YouTube, you're consistently on Instagram, you're consistently on Twitter, you're consistently posting what people want to actually see. Because it's a
Hmm.
lot of photographers that post a lot of different memes. You go through their media and it's nothing but memes. And you're a photographer, but we can't even see what exactly you're doing. It's just nothing but
Yes,
memes. So if I actually
that
wanted
is
to hire
something that I
you,
do think about actually.
yeah, so it's really bad because it's like me as a company, if I want to hire you and I don't even and I'm trying to see what your work looks like.
Yep.
If I have to keep scrolling through 100 different photos to find
Yep.
one of your pictures, I'm just gonna move on.
Yep.
So I
I
feel like it's a
yeah,
lot of different. I feel like it's a lot of opportunities lost by people from doing things like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially,
especially
especially,
Twitter.
yeah, especially Twitter.
Especially Twitter. Yeah, no, I try to be consistent like that as well, because that's something that frustrates me as well when I'm like, fine error, I'm going through somebody's page and they, claim that they're a photographer or anything like that, and I go through their media and it takes me like I can't even find any of their work sometimes. Um, if it takes me, more than like three full swipes through the media to get to something, I'm usually, not interested at that point.
Hey, thanks a lot for watching this interview. Now, if you want to build your Twitter account just like Drew Photos, we have free courses, free templates, free videos down below in the description. Go click those, have fun with those. My gift from me to you. Now, let's get back to the interview.
What are your tips that you give for building a YouTube and Instagram following? YouTube, not even just YouTube, Twitter. Matter of fact, just do Twitter and Instagram. What are your tips for building a Twitter and Instagram following?
Twitter and Instagram. So Twitter is honestly, it's my favorite. I love Twitter. I feel like it's easier to get your work shared on. I don't know. It's hard. I feel like it's easier to get your work shared on Twitter, but you have to make it somewhat exciting, right? Where that's kind of where I've done like the behind the scenes sort of pictures and that sort of stuff, really showing like kind of what effort I guess is taken into achieving a photo. I feel like people really, really enjoy that sort of stuff. And I feel like with Twitter, when you're trying to build on Twitter, the people that I'm trying to, um, I guess, attract are people that aren't the creatives, right? They're not already they're not photographers, they're not videographers, all that sort of stuff. I want like the normal person. I like want to inspire people to get into this sort of stuff, right? Like that's the audience that I kind of want to reach for when it comes to Twitter. Just because there's a whole lot more of those people than there are actual photographers and that sort of thing. And I mean, everybody can be a photographer at this point, right? With, you got your iPhone and all that sort of stuff. So I guess it's a more common thing to like somewhat be interested into photography, right? That's kind of like the people that I want. Um, but I don't know. I guess I try to wow people. My goal is to wow somebody because I feel like if you can get somebody to retweet your tweets, that's what you want. So you want people to retweet your stuff because then that goes on their feed where anybody that follows them will see that content, right? And for me, when I retweet things, it's because I'm like super wowed by it, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is insane. And so that's what I try to do with my posts and the content that I post on Twitter, just because then it gets to more eyes and that sort of stuff. And if you have more eyes looking at your stuff, you have more, I guess, a bigger possibility of people following your page and that sort of thing too. And it also helps to be active. It also helps to be replying to people, commenting back on people's things, because people see that, they see what you do, and especially if you're, I guess, like a smaller channel or whatever, you do have to have content and that sort of stuff too, right? It's not gonna just kind of happen out of nowhere. But I don't know. I mean, it is social media. I've seen crazy things, but I guess this is really, I guess, across all of the social media platforms is just being active, being consistent with what you do, and coming out with stuff that is of quality, right? I guess nothing. You always want it to be of standard and that sort of thing. I feel like I've set my bar way too high at this point, but it's a fun challenge to try and achieve. But it really is. It really is, especially for Twitter. It's be active, reply back, like tweets, try and converse with like your favorite people that you follow. Like I followed a lot of like Brandon Wolfel. I always will try to reply to him, even now, even when I have, I guess, a good amount of followers now. Um, because every once in a while they post things like threads and that sort of stuff where they want to see other people's work and that sort of stuff. It's just, about getting your name out there. And once people see you, and it's, I guess, trying to fit into a community, honestly, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But I think every online thing, like especially Twitter and Instagram, it's kind of, it is clicky, right? There are clicks and that sort of stuff. But if you are just in the photo community in general, I feel like it just helps knowing people, having connections, because then they share your work, they are commenting on your work, people see this activity and that sort of stuff. I mean, I guess it's just about, it's really networking yourself and putting out good content and having it be consistent and all that stuff. It's tougher than I guess people think, honestly. But I guess that kind of answers the question on how to grow on social media. It's, I guess, a lot of what you've heard probably a billion times. But it's really, think of it as networking just online, right? You want to network yourself. You want people to recognize your name and that sort of thing. Like even with people that follow me, like I don't follow a whole lot of people, but I know a lot of the people that follow me and comment on my stuff. And um, I guess it's something that people notice, people that are, busting their butt and putting out good stuff and doing it consistently and just networking and meeting people and that sort of stuff. I guess that's what I did. My goal was to just continue to get better at what I was doing with my work, and my goal was to surround myself with people who were better than me and meet these people and learn from them and that sort of stuff. And with that, I mean, I've just been able to, I guess, push myself even further. And then I've found like a thing, I guess, that sets me apart from a lot of people, especially online and Twitter and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I don't know. Growing, it's tough on social media. It really is. I can tell you when it comes to photography and that sort of stuff, it's really not like, I mean, numbers help, but if you're looking to make a good amount of money doing this sort of stuff, it's not all about followers. It's about who you know. It's about who you work with and that sort of thing. So if you don't get a lot of love on social media and that sort of thing, I wouldn't like give up doing whatever you're trying and that sort of thing. But it's about who you know. It really is. That's all that you should be worried about anyways. Because I mean, I know plenty of people that don't have a lot of followers, but they're doing very well off just because of the people that they know. And so I try not to, obviously I try not to think too much about the social media thing, but it does engulf my life. So it's just, I guess my mindset is, like I said, trying to wow people, trying to do something, I guess, different. I think some of that stuff just kind of comes to you. Like, I don't know, I guess I haven't really ever gone out of the way to like with product photography stuff, like I didn't, I guess, pick that up just because it was like, oh, I want to try and gain more followers on social media or anything like that. I'm just trying to, I guess I just try to document the cool stuff that I do and share it with my followers in the,
So
what I would say, smartest way to grow.
so let me ask you this question here: how often do you post on Twitter?
How
How
often do I
how
post
many
on
tweets?
Twitter?
How many tweets do you send out a day?
So on Twitter, I try to post at least one, like, I guess, meaningful tweet a day. Like I want something, either it be like a photo set, I don't even know, like something that I can post that I feel like does well engagement wise. I try to do that at least once a day. It can be anything really, but photo sets and that sort of stuff I do try to post pretty consistently. Definitely, I try to do at least like one major photo shoot like a week and that sort of stuff. And then I try and fill in the other days with different tweets and that sort of thing. I don't tweet as much as I used to. A lot of my tweets, like if you were to go through just my tweets, not the ones that they just show you and filter out, it would be a lot of replies. It would be a lot of replies to people. It would be a lot of me having
How
conversations
many
with people.
replies are you sending out a day? How
That's a
many
great question.
replies and conversations a day?
I reply to a lot of people. I don't even know how many it would be per day. It's really, I try to reply to anybody that like quotes my stuff and tells me like that they enjoy my work or something like that. Obviously, I try to get all of them. I can't do all of them because there's just so many that come in now, honestly. But I try to like at least say like thank you so much, like I appreciate you so much, or like I appreciate this because I do appreciate all those comments. Like, I have to think at the end of the day like somebody's taking their time out of their day to quote my tweet or anything like that, even though it may be 5-10 seconds. It's still 5-10 seconds where they took their time to say that they enjoyed my work, and so I try
And
to
now when
I
you've
at least
done
like it. I at least
now
like
when
it.
you when you let me
And
ask you this question here.
yeah.
Now have you seen a trend in the people that you're responding to coming back again and interacting with you?
Yeah, so that is, yeah, no, that's exactly why I reply to people, is because, most of the times they will end up following you or replying on your next post and all of that sort of stuff. And like I said, you know, I only follow, I think, about 780 people, but there's so many people that I know that are active with my stuff that I will reply to and engage with and that sort of thing. And like I said, my goal, I guess, on social media is, I want to be, like I said, everybody's friend and that sort of thing. And I'm a really laid back guy. So I don't mind having conversations with people. But yeah, no, they do. Most people do come back. Like even like on sets that do really well, I will reply to almost everybody, especially people that do not follow me. If it's somebody that does not follow me, I will reply back. If it's somebody that does already currently follow me, sometimes I will just like the tweet and that sort of thing. But for sure, somebody that does not follow me, I will reply back and like their tweet, and just either it be thank you so much, or if it's like they ask a question about the shoot, I'll answer it, that sort of stuff. But yeah, you have a higher chance of
See,
them
now
following you from that.
for people for people watching this, now it's no excuse for you not to be. If he can respond to tweets, if he can respond to a lot of different people responding to him and interacting with this post, there's no excuse for you not to be able to do the same thing, even if you have 1,000 followers. You so if you got something small like that and you can't even respond to the people that's interacting with you, then I don't laziness on your part. So if he can do it, you definitely can do it too. So I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy that you clear that. So
I try to be active. That's something that I want to be, I guess, known for. Like I hope people notice that sort of stuff. It's something that I want people to
yeah,
notice, that I am active with people, and that I don't seem like a bad guy, that sort of stuff. Like that's my goal is to obviously, like I said, I want to be everybody's friend on social media. I want people to, have fun, be interactive, be engaging in my content and that sort of stuff because I thrive off of that stuff. I love that stuff. I love interacting with different people and new people and making connections. And I don't know, it's fun for me. It really is.
Hey, thanks a lot for watching this interview. Now, if you're a freelancer and you need a website or portfolio, for the winners, we make websites and portfolios. So just click the link down below in the description and we can make you a website to start getting you more clients and more money in your pockets. Now, let's get back to the interview. Let's go.
Okay, so go to softwares, apps, and we already covered the lenses. So let's just cover go-to software and apps for editing and taking photos that you could recommend to a beginner or
Yeah.
even a photographer that's already out here. What could you recommend?
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's see. Let's start off with like iPhone. I'm trying to think. What is this app called? Um, it's really, really awesome. It's called Halide, Halide. It's a camera app. It's just really nice. It has everything kind of laid out very simply for you. It's a little bit more advanced than, I guess, just the normal camera application on the phone itself. So I guess if you're somebody looking into just starting off with photography and that sort of stuff, it's a good app to kind of understand where, aperture and shutter speed and all that stuff kind of comes into play. Editing softwares, though, for iOS, on the phone side specifically, Visco, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I highly recommend that, honestly, especially if I think they have like a paid service that you can do. It's like $20 a year, I want to say. And you get even more options like HSL adjustments, which is your hue, saturation, and luminance. Basically, you can have fun and full control of all the colors in your photos, which is really cool that you can do all this stuff on a phone app now. Um, I would say, like I said, Visco for iPhone. There's other ones out there that are also really good, but I enjoy Visco the most. Uh, if we switch over to iPad, um, you still have, everybody's favorite, Lightroom, and um, they don't really have a full-fledged Photoshop yet, but it is coming, hopefully, soon. But Lightroom, even Lightroom for your phone too, because you can do all your edits on Lightroom on your phone, which is really cool as well. But Lightroom is honestly what I recommend for most people. It's what's easiest. It organizes your photos, and it's a good way to learn how to edit in general. It allows you to mess around and create your own stuff and create different styles and that sort of thing. If you're looking to get a little bit more advanced, that's when I would look into Photoshop or Affinity Photo, Affinity Photo is just they have a iPad and desktop version, but it's Photoshop. It's just another Photoshop is what it is. I use Affinity Photo on my iPad, and I got into Affinity just because Photoshop didn't have a full-fledged Photoshop app on the iPad, and Affinity Photo was a good replacement for me at that point. And so I've been using them forever, so I really enjoy using Affinity. And it's a lot cheaper than Lightroom and Photoshop. It's a one-time payment. I think the desktop version's $50 to $60, and the iPad app I think is $20, if I can remember correctly. But it's a great app. That's more for advanced stuff. Like that's Photoshop. That's if you're wanting to edit stuff in. That's if you're wanting to get into like heavy retouching and that sort of stuff. Those are the apps that I would recommend for the editing side of things. And then on desktop, same thing. Affinity Photo, Photoshop, Lightroom. That's what I would recommend. That's just going to be the easiest, honestly, to get into. Especially Lightroom and Photoshop. If you're able to pay for all of that and the Creative Cloud, it makes it very easy to keep all your photos organized. And it is some of the best. I would consider it the best software out there for editing. But I am a firm believer in just getting into something, honestly, and giving it a shot, because the more you start to learn all the terms in editing and all that sort of stuff, it can be used anywhere and that sort of thing. But Lightroom, Photoshop, and Affinity are the best, in my opinion.
Dope. So thanks for giving us that, man. We're gonna be linking all of those
You
different
should,
programs,
yes.
softwares that he just said. We're gonna link them in this video, so you all can get to those too. Take advantage of those. So definitely thank you for that, man. What do you think photographers need to improve on business wise, even with yourself too?
I have to improve quite a bit when it comes to the business side of thing. I think it's, I guess what photographers like, well, at least for me, and I guess I don't know if I'm like every other photographer out there, but I think that we definitely need to get more into the business side of things because I feel like some people are scared or don't know how, like me, and I feel like we miss out on a lot of opportunities and that sort of stuff as photographers. But I do have a couple people that are really, really good at the business side of things, and what they do is remarkable. I don't know if you're familiar with Danny Batista, but he is amazing, an
He's
amazing
great.
photographer,
He's
and
great.
amazing at the business side of
He's
things.
great.
But he's basically, he started just by going in and taking photos for, restaurants and that sort of stuff, and ordered the nicest thing that he could to get some nice quality photos, sent it to them, and was like, if you like these, you can, buy them. And eventually you just meet people through people and connections. And if you do a great job and that sort of stuff, I mean, you'll find yourself having more and more clients. And so I look up to him quite a bit, especially when it comes to the business side of things, because he's doing it right now for sure. He's constantly flying all over the place doing that stuff.
Yeah, I saw one of his latest shoots. It was crazy. It was crazy. I follow him on Instagram. So yeah, he's
He's
he's definitely
awesome.
he's definitely yeah, he's
He's
good.
a legend when it comes to the business side of things. But yes, everybody needs to be more like Danny when it comes to the business side of things with photography, because we could all be killing it out here. But yeah, it's I think people need to work on being competent and that sort of thing. Even myself, just with how much you deserve to be paid for work that you're doing, and don't be afraid to be rejected and that sort of thing, because life goes on.
So last question before we wrap this up. What are three fun facts about you? Maybe the way you edit. I don't know. Three fun facts about you,
Three fun
photography.
facts. I'm trying to think.
Or
Well,
fun
let's
or
see.
weird.
Fun or weird? Let's see. So, fun facts, I guess. One, we kind of talked about it earlier. I used to be a Call of Duty YouTube gamer nerd. So I think that's kind of a fun fact. I used to make money off of YouTube. Um, let's see. Another weird fun fact. I edit with an iPad. Everything. All of my photos are edited on an iPad Pro, which I it's normal to me now, but for some people that is very weird. People think that you have to have like the nicest setup in the world to get
Yeah, you
fantastic
kind of just
photos.
weirded me out with that too.
Um, but yeah, I've edited everything on an iPad for about 2.5 years now, which is crazy to think. But yeah, that one's a weird, fun one. um, and then, oh gosh, a weird, fun one. So this is like a unpopular opinion sort of thing, but I don't like Thin Mints. I don't like chocolate Thin Mints. I think Thin Mints are disgusting. And I will argue with somebody. I just ask people if would you, while brushing your teeth, take a bite of a Hershey chocolate bar? And most people would say no. And that's why I'm like, exactly. That's why I don't eat Thin Mints. No, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's very controversial, and I just don't like Thin Mints. That's a weird fact, right? That could be a fact. Weird fact.
Yeah, man, that is a weird fact, man. So definitely glad that we got that information from you. You dropped a lot of gems in
Thank you,
this
man.
interview
I
too. I
appreciate
think a
it.
lot of our viewers will find a lot of value in what you had to say, man. So we definitely appreciate you appreciate you taking the time out of your day to fit us in to gather some knowledge from you and some entertainment from you. So you know, thank you, man.
I
Thank you.
appreciate, man. I appreciate you having me on here, man. Like I said, I love doing this sort of stuff, like meeting new people, that sort of thing. It's just all about, you know, networking, meeting new people, that sort of thing. Because I mean, who knows, like down the road or anything like that. I mean, you could hit me up because, we swap numbers. I mean, you could text me out of the blue needing photos for blah, 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 or somebody that needs photos and they're in my area and that sort of stuff. And,
Yep.
vice
Yep.
versa, where, you can hit me up. Like, honestly, you're more than welcome to text me whenever if you have any questions or anything like that or whatever. And so just, having that connection with somebody, I think, is a plus in life. So I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate talking to you, man. I really do.